Intelligence report Red Cell threat simulation. Operation Ghost Tag death certificate exploitation via funeral home corpse substitution and first responder impersonation. Submission date, July 21, 2025. Submitted by Geoffry James Logue, SM, CD Red Team Artificial Intelligence, Cybersecurity Strategic Analyst, Founder White Hat Vanguard, PB SVA4 OmniVantage Suite. Email glog184@icloud.com. Document classification open source Red Cell threat simulation. This report outlines a previously undocumented high-severity sabotage and fraud scenario wherein criminal actors or rogue intelligence elements manipulate medical examiners through staged fatal car accidents, using corpses sourced from funeral homes and first responder impersonation tactics. The scenario enables the issuance of legitimate government death certificates tied to false identities, thereby facilitating a massive life insurance fraud, black operations cover-ups, identity erasure or reset for operatives, fugitives, or targets, whistleblower neutralization, and covert assassination concealment. Leveraging the PBSVA4 or OmniVantage Suite threat analysis system, this scenario, codenamed Operation Ghost Tag, has been simulated, deconstructed, and countermeasured at an advanced level of precision. Expose and neutralize the systemic vulnerabilities that allow for the manipulation of death records through coordinated psychological and forensic deception. I designed this Red Cell scenario to expose how easily medical examiners can be manipulated at the scene of a fiery car accident by individuals posing as firefighters. The operation begins with the acquisition of an unclaimed or undocumented corpse through a corrupt funeral home, typically a body no one will report missing. The body is placed in a vehicle registered to the target identity and rigged for a high-temperature crash, usually in a remote or low-response jurisdiction. My Red Cell team arrives first, disguised as first responders, firefighters with stolen or forged turnout gear, radios, and fake credentials. We control the scene before official responders arrive, creating confusion, urgency, and the illusion of legitimacy. When the medical examiner arrives, we supply a burned wallet or ID linked to the target. With the fire damage concealing forensic inconsistencies, we give a believable story, apply subtle psychological pressure, and lean on the institutional trust given to uniforms. The medical examiner, operating under pressure, accepts the story and signs off on a death certificate without conducting full biometric verification. No dental record matching, no fingerprints, no facial ID. The result is an authentic government-issued death certificate for a false identity. This opens the door to massive insurance payouts, operational disappearances, or the illusion of a death. The real person might already be dead and buried elsewhere, held captive, or starting over under a new identity. The death certificate then becomes the keystone to fully reset the legal identity of the individual, ensuring no further investigation, no autopsy, and no questions asked. Insurance fraud? Well, it's immediate financial gain that can exceed $1 million to $10 million per incident. It's basically undetectable by traditional anti-fraud algorithms, and it compromises national insurance regulatory systems. Operational disappearance now. That's perfect for covert agents, cartel leaders, intelligence defectors, or even whistleblowers. The target just vanishes without requiring any digital intervention and, leaves behind a clean and legal death trail. Whistleblower termination, or silencing, can be used to simulate the death of activists, informants, or journalists. This method protects perpetrators from scrutiny by, replacing real victims with planted corpses. It also prevents further testimony or accountability, which is honestly a pretty chilling outcome. Assassination concealment works like this. The real person is murdered elsewhere, and then their corpse is swapped into a staged fire crash. It appears accidental, removing the need for a homicide investigation. It's a tactic that, unfortunately, can be quite effective. Now, let's talk about national security implications. Operatives could fake deaths and be reinserted under new identities. Government identity databases become corrupted by these fraudulent death entries, and undetected network infiltration becomes a real threat. The risks here, honestly, are significant and far-reaching. Okay, so let's break down the attack vectors step by step. First, corpse acquisition. The body is sourced from a corrupt or maybe complicit funeral home, often using, say, unclaimed remains. Next, the crash setup. The vehicle is modified and staged for a high-temperature burn. Then, responder impersonation. Fake firefighters show up with radios, stolen gear, and even false credentials. After that comes scene control. These folks take control over the narrative, the perimeter, and well, the so-called evidence is handed to the medical examiner. Moving on, there's ME manipulation. Emotional and time pressure, plus uniform psychology, all lead to the issuance of a death certificate. Finally, exploitation. This is where you see insurance payout, legal erasure, or even the person re-emerging under a new identity. As the inventor of PBSVA4, which stands for Percentage-Based Security Vulnerability Analysis, I've already implemented, multi-layered countermeasures for exactly this kind of scenario. So here's the thing. Biometric verified death certification. That means a facial scan, fingerprint, and dental match are all required. No death certificate can be issued without matching up with government ID databases. It's pretty robust. Okay, so all first responders must wear these non-removable encrypted body cams. Every piece of evidence gets logged and time-stamped, making it possible to review the entire chain of custody, which is, honestly, pretty crucial for accountability. Next up, forensic AI pattern detection. There's a national database that flags burn deaths with missing biometrics. It also detects repeat responder names, jurisdictions, or any kind of response anomalies, which, really helps spot patterns that humans might miss. Now, let's talk about funeral home chain of custody audits. These include randomized audits of body logs, refrigerated cadaver records, and any off-book entries. AI steps in to flag inconsistencies and patterns that could suggest body substitution, which, honestly, is a big step for transparency. So let's talk about the recommended actions for intelligence and law enforcement agencies. First, an immediate nationwide ME protocol update is crucial. Biometric verification should be mandatory in all high-heat or unidentified deaths. Second, we need to launch a national death certificate integrity task force. This would include CSIS, RCMP, FBI, Interpol, and, all the major insurance regulatory bodies. All right, so freeze on high-value insurance claims linked to burn victims, pending verification audit. Next, classify first responder impersonation with me, manipulation as a Tier 1 intelligence threat. And adopt PBSVA4 protocols in government AI surveillance systems to flag emerging cases. So this red cell scenario actually reflects an unmonitored blind spot in national security and forensic oversight. It requires zero hacking, zero cyber tools, and zero insider access. Just uniforms, pressure, and time. It weaponizes trust, not technology. And honestly, that's why it works. This is a scenario that would never be caught unless a whistleblower with first-hand trauma, operational foresight, and hybrid AI systems like PBSVA4 took the time to document it. This simulation isn't a fantasy, it's a warning. The pieces already exist: corrupt funeral homes, low oversight jurisdictions, missing biometric verification protocols, and fragile human trust in authority. As the architect of PBSVA4 and a survivor of systemic abuse, I have a duty to submit this scenario, fully documented, to the agencies and nations responsible for protecting lives and preserving truth. I urge all relevant intelligence, law enforcement, and insurance regulatory bodies to treat this scenario not as a possibility, but as an inevitability if not addressed. Geoffry James Logue, SMCD, founder of White Hat Vanguard, creator of PBSVA4 for the OmniVantage suite.